Hey, welcome to Project Amber, where I am midway through renovating my van. And in this video, I'm going to be tearing up my knackered floor.
But behind closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.
So I've got, cramp. I don't like this selfie business. So the reason the floor needs to come out is because I got way too excited at the start of the build basically and rushed it. I had a problem with the track system, the stretcher tracks that came with the ambulance. They weren't coming out. All the nuts underneath were like entwined underneath the chassis, and up top they were all full of crap, and it was just an absolute pig to get them out, and I gave up in the end. So what I did is I got some laminate floor because it was thicker, so that I could route channels in it and slot it over the top of the tracks and be done with it. Basically what I'm saying is I totally bodged it. I got way too excited at the start of the build and thought, oh my god, I've got a van and I want to build it and I want everything done now. And yeah, just slammed a floor in and it bit me in the arse. It really did. I went through one winter of wet shoes, and in that winter I got lance, and just the floor just got soaked every single day. When I first went over to Europe, it was the beast from the east, so every day I was racing to get away from that, and it chased me all the way down to Portugal. So it basically got soaked for months on end every single day, and it just started to lift and bubble, and it just got ruined. So the floor that's replacing it is thinner, lighter, and although it's clicked together again, it's completely waterproof. You can use it in bathrooms and all that kind of stuff. Perfect for lance and winter, which is creeping up so fast. I'll be able to put this stuff down, seal all the corners, and water will not be going anywhere or absorbing into anything. It will just be sitting on top. Right, enough chat, let's get on with it. Luckily both the kitchen and the bathroom were put in before the floor, but the log burner and the bed were put in afterwards, so they both need to come out in order to get the floor up. Not a massive issue really, the bed needed some pretty big changes to it anyway. The chimney also had to come out anyway, because back in Portugal I smashed it off a tree. I mean, I did a real number on it. I managed to pull it straight so I could keep using it, but it was a bit of a mess. It still creates a flue, still goes up, but it could do with replacing, so this is coming out. And I was just going to leave it dangling and then put it back in, but I've just reminded myself that it's knackered. So I'm going to take this out, plug up the hole on the roof and get a new one basically. I think it was about 20-30 quid, so it's not the end of the world. Can you imagine how many bridges I'd have hit if it was like that? It's pretty badly mangled there. A bit worse than I thought it was, to be honest. So that is scrap. With the chimney removed, the log burner can now come out. But it still had its uses outside the van, which we'll see in a bit. Right, now it's just the plinth. Oh, so much crap in here. Way easier than I thought it was going to be. Last things towards the front was just trim and skirting, and then the fun could begin. Again. After the first few panels started coming up, it revealed the old mint green nasty ambulance floor. This stayed in to help pack the floor up enough to cover the stretcher tracks, but looking back this was a pretty bad mistake, because with the size of my van it was a lot of vinyl and a lot of weight, so ripping it out is going to shed probably the weight of an average person off the van. this is great. Don't have to go along pulling any of that crap out now. Around the shower there's like, it's bubbled and it's actually retaining all of the water that's like come out when I've got out of the shower, and it's just held it under here. So if I'd have left that any longer, it started to rot out all the frame of this wall and the bathroom. So yeah, I'm quite glad I've caught that now, sooner rather than later. Well, it's been a long day of ripping out, log burners out, floors out, bed's almost out. It's now 8 o'clock, half 8, something like that. I'm gonna call it a night. The next day, the last bits of the bed frame come out, meaning I can get the last of the flooring up as well. Oh, I can get in this door again. I've got to admit, I enjoy taking the floor out a little bit too much. There's something really fun about smashing something to bits. I don't know what it is. So I've just got to this corner. Yeah, we got a bit of rock that'll need cutting out. So underneath just aluminium, so there's not going to be any structural damage, it's just the floor, but yeah, that'll need cutting out and filling in. There they are, the ambulance track. It's going to be an absolute getting them out. And that was the floor gone. The laminate was ripping the lino up with it, making the job a lot easier. It amazed me how big and heavy the pile was once it was ripped out. Didn't seem like much when it was on the floor, but that is a lot of crap and a lot of weight gone. I mean, even this stuff, it's so thin, but you put it over the span of my floor and yeah, it weighs a lot. Dropped a right clanger by not taking that out the first time, but it's out now. Right, that's that chopped away. It's just disintegrating. And if you go into the insulation, it's absolutely drenched. So that's got to come out as well, that square. I'm fairly confident that is from the water tank, either flooding from the inlet or the overflow or something, but it could be something external. So I'm gonna have a quick check of everything, see if I can see any like dribble marks on the walls or anything like that, and try and find how that's got so wet. That's all the rock gone. There was some down here the first time round and I'd cleared it all away, but I didn't do a great job at filling it all in. So I've took all that back out again, and I've got some spare insulation board that's going to go in the voids and then get boarded properly, and you should never see it. Ah, the floor is gone. So these are the old stretcher tracks that I failed to get out last time. Underneath where they bolt through, they go behind the back axle, they go behind certain plates underneath the van. A lot of the bolts are really hard to get to, so I'm not really looking forward to this, to be honest. I'm gonna have to try and find someone to help me with holding the bolts while I'm underneath and tightening them. But yeah, I mean, in each one there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's about 30 bolts in each track, so yeah, it's gonna take a while. Already I can't be arsed again. I've gone straight back to the feeling of when I was first building the van, and I just don't want to do it. Can you do it for me? Okay? Go on, just go and grab a spanner. Come on, fetch a spanner. Too bad at the front because the exhaust is still off, thanks to the fact that I've got a faulty new thrust bearing and I'm waiting for the new one. So yeah, the exhaust is still off, meaning I can get to a lot of the bolts at the front, but as it goes down to the back, there's all of that gubbins down there, and that's going to make things a bit trickier. With help from my dad, one in the van and one underneath, we slowly started getting through all the many bolts that needed to come out. Some bolts had corroded themselves through the floor, some come out relatively okay, others needed the heads drilling off them. One even had an old ball bearing in it, so you couldn't even get an Allen key down it.
Most of the nuts underneath were pretty inaccessible, creating a lot of swearing on my behalf. But one by one we tackled each one until the last one come out. There we go. 4 hours later, the tracks are gone. I had to rope my dad in to help pull them out because you need someone underneath and someone on top to like get the bolts out, and some of them were needed drilling out and all sorts. So, but we're out. We have had to put bolts back in here in certain points because it turned out the way the box is bolted to the chassis actually runs through them bolts. So as well as holding the stretcher down, they also acted like a structural brace to hold the box onto the chassis. So we've had to put some more back in. But yeah, now it's just a case of cleaning all this area up, filling the two gaps, and we're ready for floor. And now all the holes that are exposed, obviously that's going to let water in if I left them open, so I filled them up with expanding foam, and then underneath they're going to have a little bead of silicone around them as well. And then I'm just now cutting little bits like this to then go in where the tracks were. So yeah, as you can see there, the expanding foam can exploded on me halfway through. Thanks B&Q. Once the inserts were in, it just needed a quick skim of filler and a good sand to make sure everything was perfectly flat. Then it actually took quite a while to get my floor, so for now I gave it a quick coat of paint. This also showed up any imperfections. I could stick the bed and the log burner back in because they weren't being floored under, meaning I could use the van again. And all the new floor cost me was a day's gardening work, and in exchange a good friend supplied it. Flooring is here! It's proper vinyl flooring. None of this laminate stuff that was all water. It all clicks together, completely waterproof, so that little knob won't ruin it again. I was going to go darker, but I think light wood with the new colour will work a little bit better. So yeah, better get to it. Oh, the problem comes when you leave stuff on the floor and it'll just like jut up. Even more so if it's right on the joint of two slats. If that happens, it will just blow it and ruin my floor, and I'll be back to square one. Man Hoover! Sorry, I'm not allowed to say that sort of stuff in this day and age, am I? Gender equal, but very rough and rugged Hoover. It. Right, so putting the furniture in before I did the floor meant that I didn't need 3 packs, I just needed 2, because under here, under that, everywhere else, that was like a metre squared of flooring I didn't need. So that being said, it's still going to be quite tight, so if I make a few bad cuts or mess up in some way, it's going to be a bit of a problem. So I want to start over there. Yeah, I want to start in this corner and round by the door and make my way that way, I think. Right, my first cut is 420. I'm not sure how I'm going to go about cutting it yet. I think I'm just going to go with the Stanley blade and try and score and cut it, but I've never done this flooring before, so it's a bit of trial and error at the minute. Oh, come on now. See, this is where I spend most of my days. I'll do 5-10 minutes worth of work, spend about 2 hours looking for the tool that I've put down, get annoyed, go and eat a sandwich, come back and it's on the side somewhere. Ah! It's on the side somewhere. Okay, rethink, because I'd rather have, if I get all the way across here, I'm gonna have to cut all these if it falls short and put like a little half board in, and I'd rather not have that along the full length of the van. I'd rather have it just in the 2 little corners that you see. Okay, now I'm gonna swap, and I'm gonna start this side so that I can go and finish in the least viewable area, so the little infills aren't on show, because they always look. Oh god, I tell you what, it's a bit of a workout in here. I haven't put the van on ramps, so
my mum to walk uphill. I remember having an argument once with one of my builder friends, and it was about using spirit levels, and he, obviously being a builder, swears by spirit levels. And the argument was about using a spirit level in a van. That's why you can't use a spirit level in a van. Bed's in the way. I know you want to play, mate. I know you do. But we did enough of that earlier, and now I've got work to do. I do play with the dog, honestly. I know from these videos it's like I'm always turning him away, but I just tend not to record the hours and hours it takes to wear him out in the fields and shit. Trying to wear a dog out that's half Springer Spaniel and half Cocker Spaniel, it's... you just can't do it. Right, now I need that half, because then I'll get the proper look. So if I start and put the joint there, stagger it. That's the thing with this, you've got to think so carefully about what you're doing, because I was just about to do that, like, alright, there's my cut I just did for over there. I'll cut that off and put it in there, but you spin it around and I cut from this side, so there's nothing to lock the next one into. I will eventually start gluing these once I've got the general gist of what I'm doing. Oh, that's quite therapeutic, this. Right, before I get too far, I'm going to start gluing. And I've got... what is it? Right, now I've got to try and cut the hole for the table leg. I think that's, yeah, that's the one for there. No, that's definitely a hole cutting job. Close. Oh crap, now I've done that, I've got crap all over the floor again. Lovely. I won't put that all the way in yet because I've got to put this one in. Well, my maths isn't as bad as I thought it was, because that is the last plank of wood in the set, and the glue has just run out as well. But that is the floor done. I'm gonna ignore that bit. And only one injury. told you I'm so cute. Watch where he's standing because the sealant still isn't dry. Right, that's the floor done. Why I'm sitting on it and not the sofa, I don't know. Yeah, when I first started putting it down, I weren't too sure about the colour, but now that it's down, I'm really chuffed with it. It's done exactly what I wanted, which was brighten it up, along with the grey on the walls. And now I know I can go through this winter without him ruining it. It's completely waterproof, all the sealants around the sides, not quite dry yet. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. That way you can keep up with all the build updates and some of the weird and wonderful things I get up to, and it helps me out a lot. But for now I'm going to try and keep him away from the sealant, stick a film on and admire my nice new floor. Thanks for watching.
It's hard to tell what I've been thinking lately, but behind closed doors I'm a fool for your love. You said we had it all, that shit would drive me crazy, cause outside is no feelings, baby. You say it's hard to tell what I've been thinking lately, but behind closed doors I'm a fool for your love.
Bed is not coming apart as easy as I thought it was going to.
Behind closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.